Okay, so the first thing we do when editing a photo is we turn up the exposure, and we want it, with this photo it's really bright in the sky but then really dark in the shadows, so we really want to bring the best of the both of those out in this photo. But the basics are, yeah, you turn up the exposure and then you crank up the contrast right up to 100 is pretty standard. Like most people will crank up the contrast to 100. Sometimes I'll have a little bit less, so then it leaves a bit more detail in the shadows. But for this, I'll just crank it up to 100, so then I can really show you how to change those highlights and those shadows to so you can see both better. So you come down here to highlights and you turn them down. And as you can see, you can it goes from being quite bright and maybe one color to a bit of blue at the top, a bit of kind of pink and orange fade happening. And next we're going to boost up the shadows, and then you can boost them up a lot, but then it starts to kind of go purple inside the shadows. And see, so when it's back to 0, you can kind of see the branch, sorry, the stem and the stems, but you can't see any of what's happening in the background. But we don't want it as bright as we had it before, so just a little bit up, and then you can start seeing that there's some kind of green over here, like a different plant, and then maybe some mountains. These could be trees, and then there's other stems of other plants and things happening in the background. So it's not a huge difference, but it does make a huge, it's not a huge change as far as going from here to there, but it makes a huge difference, a subtle difference in the photo. Right, so that's looking really good. We could, if we wanted to make it more contrasty, we could turn the darks down a bit, and then it gets really, but that just looks a bit ugly, so we won't do that. Let's forget I said that. The blacks, I am actually going to boost up a bit, because my histogram, if I have it on 0, my histogram is telling me that it's too dark. And so if I just boost that up and get rid of, cool. And that just means it's going too black, and usually to the point where my eyes can't see it. So the histogram is actually really good to have up, so you can see a reference for stuff you can't see. All right, next is the presence, which is a combination of clarity, vibrance, and saturation. And we're just going to boost up the clarity quite a bit. And as you can see, that's really made the brights a lot brighter, so we might have to just go up and just turn down the whole photo a little bit, just a little bit. Boost those up, get rid of that. And a little bit of vibrance and a little bit of saturation would be quite good. Okay, so that's looking really good. I'll be quite happy with that photo. As it is. It just, you know, of course you've got to take good photos in the first place. You can't just like color grade a crap photo. You need to be taking good photos, but that's a different tutorial. This is, once you've taken a good photo, this is now how you can edit it. One thing I would do, let's say we're posting this for Instagram, I would click on the crop and just bring it in at the sides, so we can come along, get this flower in, or weed in, and then over to here, because on Instagram you can post kind of more vertical photos and it takes up more space and it keeps people looking at your photo longer. That's a whole nother video as well, but there is that option. I'm just going to undo that though, and we'll finish editing this first. Okay, the next thing we can do is change the colors, and this is where we go from your normal photo that looks like what you're seeing with your eyes to you taking over and creating something different. So how we change the sky up here to the teal is we go over here, we've clicked on So it's the hue, not the saturation or the luminance, it's hue. And then we come down to the blue here, and we go all the way to the right as we could change it purple. And you can't really see anything there. So if we go to the left, there's actually not much blue in there at all. I don't know if you saw that, but there was a slight change in the sky up here. So what I will do is I'll actually turn that down to teal, the blue back to teal, minus 100. Then come up to temperature and tint. I'll just use the temperature here to take everything a bit more blue, just slightly. And as I slightly just take that to the left, you can see that there's a bit more kind of blue happening in the sky. If I go even more, now it's the blue has affected the whole photo, so it's too much. I actually just want it to affect the sky at the top, just like so. If I go too far to the right, everything goes kind of warmer, and to the left colder. So I just want a slight, because it is autumn, so to have a slight bit of blue in there lets you know that it's autumn. Because if it was all the way to the right in orange, that's kind of saying, hey, it's a warm summer's night, it's really warm. If we go a lot more to the left, it's starting to look a bit colder, like there could be a frost or snow even the next day. So just kind of wherever you feel like you want to, what season you want to make this photo is where you stop with the tint, the temperature. Tint's a bit different. These are all color, these are all white balance things here, and basically if you shoot something and you got the white balance wrong, it's either going to be too blue, too yellow, too green, or too purple. And the way to change it if it's too purple is to drag this to more green, and the way to change this from being too orange is to drag it more blue, and vice versa for both. And that's basically it. That's if I was going to post this on Instagram, I would definitely do more of a kind of that, and that looks really good. There are other things you can do to improve the photo, but that's not color grading. This was a basic color grading kind of tutorial. You can increase the sharpening, which just kind of makes things sharper. But if you've got a good sharp camera, it doesn't matter. You can reduce the noise. There's not a lot of noise in the shadows anyway, but you can reduce that if you want to. I don't usually use, I can handle posting photos without noise reduction and sharpening, but if you want to get particular and get in there and really change everything, that's how you do it. That's the basic way I color grade. So if you want to look at the before and afters, there it is on the left, the before and after on the right. Obviously, like I said, you've got to have a good camera to take a good photo. You can't just, a lot of phones have good cameras, so you can get good photos. And the color grading really does make a difference. As you can see, it's quite subtle. It's not like really freakishly different of a color grade. It's, yeah, it's good. I like it. So that's my basic color grade tutorial. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm out. Peace.